I'm Haley Taylor, and you're listening to the Rough Draft Diaries. This week on the Rough Draft Diaries, you'll meet Wendy Wester. Wendy is a development officer at United Way.
So I have a portfolio of accounts that I work with individuals on helping them run their employee campaign within their business, whether it's a school, another nonprofit, or a larger organization.
When Wendy was nominated, this is actually the second time she's been nominated, I thought her work with United Way would be our topic of discussion. But the more we talked, the more I noticed all the other organizations Wendy is involved with. One of them is Girl Scouts.
I am a 10-year Girl Scout volunteer. I had a troop from kindergarten through 8th grade. We did try, the freshman year to keep the troop going. 7 girls in 6 different high schools was quite a challenge. So I had to let it go, but I still run into the girls periodically, and I'm so proud of the young ladies that they have turned into.
The other organization, the one that our conversation continually returned to, was her work with Equality Toledo. Wendy is currently on the board of this local nonprofit that advocates and educates on behalf of the LGBTQI community. Wendy didn't immediately start on the board, though. She first came to Equality Toledo as a mom in need of some resources.
To take a step back, my child was born female, and over self-discovery and self-awareness, being a female was not a right fit, and so I have a son now. So my son is transgender, and when you're a parent, it's scary. They say a parent doesn't come with a hand manual on how to be a great parent. I was not prepared for my child to question his gender identity.
Wendy's child transitioned at the end of his 7th grade year into his 8th grade year. A tricky time for any teenager, but it was also a tricky time for Wendy. She eventually went to Equality Toledo looking for some guidance, but first she had to inform the rest of the family.
When I first told my parents, I did it privately. I didn't have my son there, and my father was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea, because he had a stereotypical misconception of how an individual should behave, whether it's feminine attributes or masculine attributes. And then going to my grandparents, Southern Baptists from the hills of Tennessee, they asked a question, was very respectful, did something happen? Was your child abused? Because that's what they thought, that somebody taught them that, or somebody abused them and turned them that way, and that's not true. Again, that's a stereotype and a misconception. But they were wonderful and asked great questions, and it's been amazing.
I have to admit, I was pleasantly surprised to hear that the transition was so easy for Wendy's family to accept. You hear so many stories about how it's, the opposite. Wendy is surprised too. All forms of relatives and even friends on Facebook seem to genuinely be supportive of the change in Wendy's family.
In fact, when I became familiar with Equality Toledo, I was invited to observe a grant application process. They had dollars for high schools to implement an anti-bullying campaign, and then they had to present it to the group. And Whitmer High School was the last one to present. And Whitmer High School actually created theirs around educating and supporting the LGBT community. And as I'm sitting there, one of these students spoke up. We came up with this idea because I know someone that's coming in that is transgender. I noticed that I recognized one of those students. She was the older sister to one of my Girl Scouts. And it was my son that she was talking about. And I was just in tears that somebody cared enough about my son, to make sure that he was going to have a safe and supportive environment for his high school years. And so it's been fantastic. Everything's been great. Sometimes I'm afraid to say it out loud, how blessed we have been. But Toledo's a great place. We've got amazing supports, amazing people that live here, and everything happened in the order that it was supposed to bring us to where we're at right now.
The success Wendy's family has achieved only helps to motivate her more to give guidance to other families who are also reaching out to Equality Toledo looking for help.
sometimes I get phone calls or emails from other parents that are new to this as well. What do I need to do to help support my child? And so that's pretty much my main role with Equality Toledo, along with advocacy work, is just being a resource to other parents on navigating through supporting their child. It's been such a blessing to be working with some amazing volunteers, and their talents each have their own talent and niche. So that's just kind of flow from a work relationship to a nonprofit board member, and then being able to offer support to the others. Like I said, just everything kind of is connected and comes full circle, and we have been so blessed and fortunate to have the support system, amazing friends and family and co-workers that have been very supportive in this journey. And so in turn, I want to offer that to others as well.
I'm Haley Taylor, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Rough Draft Diaries. Wendy's choices for next week include
Equality Toledo, Nick Comives, Angela Tenero.
You'll have to tune in next time to find out who I pick on the Rough Draft Diaries.